All right, everybody, welcome to Unscripted One-on-One from my soon-to-be studios in Old Hilliard, but still in my basement. A really special day today, and this is pretty cool because a family member, extended family member, reached out to me and said, you absolutely have to do this interview. So today my guest is Luciana Gilmore, and hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Is that
you
correct?
are.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right. Well, let me just go ahead and get out of the way and turn it over to you. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you, and then I want to get into your story because it's amazing.
Thank you. So first, I have to really just give a shout out to Ms. Petranek, who is the connection of even allowing this platform to happen. Was one of my teachers, and it just was awesome to work with her. So shout out to Ms. Petranek. Thank you.
Absolutely.
My name is Luciana Gilmore. I have always been an educator since I started my career. I started off as a classroom teacher, worked my way out of the classroom. I was an assistant principal for 1 year and decided that position was not the position for me. I needed to lead the ship, and the next year I was offered the head principal position. Did that for 5 years, had tremendous success, enjoyed my job, really enjoyed education, but really there was a point where literally God was like, you need to do something outside the walls of this building. And because my life had been so scripted up to that point, I went to high school, I graduated, I went to college, I did all the incremental steps moving forward. This was totally out of the norm. It was totally out of my comfort zone. But one day in the middle of the school year, I wrote a letter, and I have not looked back since.
Wow.
And that's kind of it in a nutshell, but I'm sure you have a lot of things you want me to speak about, because there's a lot of things that's intertwined in my walk and where I am now.
Well, and it's so interesting how these things all happen, because I'm in the process of, and I've got an announcement coming in the next few weeks myself. We just talked about a little bit offline. I'm in some transitions myself.
Yes.
So between the dream or fun of what this platform, this podcast has become, and also some personal changing of positions myself, I totally get, and I really want to unpack with you. So you left, and I think it's important. You left a very comfortable. I don't know how it was at your school, but you left a position that was safe, comfortable for the unknown. And so let's get into that, because and not only did you just leave to start a company, you're not selling, pardon my French, widgets.
No.
This is a really you're doing life-changing stuff, and it's near and dear to your heart. So really, let's go to that. What are you doing now? And you left again. So I really want everybody to understand, as we unpack a little bit. You left a very comfortable, what could have been a nice career for you as a principal, for something that is near and dear and special. And so let's go there. What are you doing now, and what did you leave for?
Oh, you gave me chills just talking about it.
I'm sorry. It's exciting. So, it is. And it needs to be highlighted for sure.
It is exciting. And I get chills every time that I speak about it, because it's almost like an out of body experience when I hear people say exactly what I did. Yes, I did it, and it was real, but just to hear it was a very comfortable position. Being in education for so long, by the time I became a principal, I understood children. I understood what it took to do things very effectively. I knew how to rally a team behind me. So it was a comfortable position. I'm going to tell you that the day that I left was probably the scariest day in my entire life. And I have given birth to 3 human beings, and nothing was more scarier than walking away from my position.
100%.
And it really was from the fear of not knowing what was next. I made over 6 figures in my position, and anything that I did extra outside of that just heightened. I had a daughter that was getting ready to go to college, and 2 little ones up under her, really just not knowing. I'm a divorced mom, so it wasn't like I had another income in the house to support if things did not go as planned.
Wow.
But within me, what I understood and what I came to find out about myself is that regardless if anything was scripted or if it was supposed to be planned, that I had a drive in me that I had to keep pushing, and I was not used to failing. And so I was not going to let this fail by any means necessary.
Yeah.
When I first started, I really was in a prayerful space. It's like, God, I don't know how you got me out here flying on my own. I don't know what this flight is even about. I'm going to need some direction. Yeah. And when I initially stepped out, my work was all about helping girls. Because that was a real need for me. I was a girl who needed help. And so my initial work was building a foundation. It's called Gilmore Girls Foundation. And what I knew from education is that girls needed to be supported in a way that they were not being supported in education. And so when we talk about social emotional learning and wrapping our arms around children, boys need something totally different than girls need growing up. And there is very little acknowledgement in the education world. So that was my first thing. And I knew that I had to bring mothers to the table, because part of it, and this is really dealing with inner city youth, part of it is that this is a generational unproductive cycle. So I felt like if I could get moms to the table too, I'm not just helping girls, but now I get to help the moms. Now I get to break a cycle. Yeah. And that's where that work started. Well, with that, what I kept asking, like, okay, God, I can do this work, but I'm not sure where the money is going to come from this work. I'm not sure how this is going to pay the bills. This is awesome and great, and I enjoy it. But God, I got to have a house. I got to be able to support myself.
Sort of important.
And yes. and really what it became is use all the skills that you attain. Like, I kept you in that position because I needed you to learn everything while you were there, but now I need you to use it in your capacity. And I sat back and I said, okay, I have 2 master's degrees. I know how to build a team. I know how to teach to be effective. And so I started Novaturient Industries, which is now my parent company of 3 companies. And so it is my parent company. And my parent company, we stand on the premise of changing the narrative for students. And it comes from 3 lenses. We come from the changing the lens from leadership. We change the lens from community. And then we change the lens from educational classrooms. And in building that, that's how Gilmore Girls felt fit into the puzzle, because they're the community piece. Doing the work, I knew that I was able to kind of reach back and say, okay, a lot of my colleagues knew me from the past. They know what I'm good at. Let me reach back and get some contracts and do some PDs. And it became bigger and bigger overnight. Aaron, like, people started calling me like, yes, can you come and teach this? Can you come? While that was growing, the foundation was growing, and I was getting contracts from schools to say, yes, come in and teach our girls, rally that up. Well, my son started feeling left out. And he said, well, you're doing all this stuff in the schools. You're doing all this stuff for the girls. What about boys? So I was like, okay, I cannot take another thing up under my belt. Now, all this stuff was going good, Aaron, but I still had not reached my income potential, right? So I still was struggling. But what I will say, and I want your audience to know, is that since it has been 3 years, just this past October, I have never missed a house note. I have never missed a car note. My daughter is getting ready to graduate from college in May of this year. We have been better this year than I've ever been in my entire career.
In a pandemic. Wow.
Literally. I've gotten more work in this pandemic than I have the entire time that I have walked away from my position. And I know that this was nothing but God saying, let me highlight great, even in the midst of being bad. Let me make sure that I push you up to show you that if I can highlight you in a pandemic, you're going to be okay. This is going to be okay. Yeah. And so I toured over what my son said, and I said, okay, you're right. Because boys do need something, especially our brown boys. And I sat behind the books. I put a company together. And last year, on my son's 8th birthday, he became the CEO of Brown Boy Joy. And so Brown Boy Joy is our 3rd leg up under Novaturient. And this company, he just was on the news on 2 days ago, yesterday. He was on the news yesterday with his launch of his first plush doll. He has a doll that is called My Friend. The My Friend speaks 5 positive affirmations to brown boys. It is all about inspiring and empowering to a generation where they don't have that. There's no one speaking greatness into our young boys. And with all of the racial things that's going on, I really wanted to put my son in a place where he could speak from a very intentional voice of being able to pour out what he's feeling, because we live in a very racially mixed neighborhood, but every neighborhood is not like our neighborhood. And I really wanted him to understand what brown boys go through in the inner city that he's not privy to. So I started sharing with him the Trayvon Martin, the Tamir Rice, that was actually Miss Petranic and I student. And so I was sharing those stories with him. And he made a conscious decision and said, Milo, let's dress up my first plush in a hoodie, because I want everybody to know that no matter what you wear or what color your skin, you shouldn't have to die because of it, which I thought was amazing. So here we are. We're in 2021. I have the 3 companies. We're moving straight ahead with so much positivity behind everything that we're doing. And Aaron, this is the year that I get to file my financial records, and I have doubled the income that I walked away from.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. You have no idea how much you're speaking to my heart. And I think our mutual friend, maybe even, I don't think she even knew that, but because, you know, I've seen the same with a podcast. You just follow a dream, you know?
Yes.
And I haven't followed it enough to leave my job yet, but,
okay.
but at the end of the day, yeah, you know, at the end of the day, I think I'm so in tune with what you're saying, because I absolutely, there's so much freedom and joy that comes from, it's yours. And if it fails, it's yours. And if it does well, but what happens is, what I've seen, and I don't know if you've seen this, others rally around your excitement and your joy. Have you seen that too? Has the community, your community of friends or your circle of friends, have they rallied around you in this as well?
They definitely have. What I will say is, when I left, I think that there was some form of disappointment, because you do expect, when you launch on your own, for everybody to rally behind you, right? That doesn't happen. And so what you have to, you start to develop even much more tougher skin than you did working for someone else, because now you have to shield all of your internal feelings about those who don't support, or who you thought was really going to support you, and that didn't happen. But your comfort comes in, if I can get someone to rally behind me who does not know me, I'm doing the work. That's more powerful than those who have known me from my childhood.
So powerful. Yep.
Yes. It's a game changer, because then you really get to say, you know, this isn't about because you just like Luciana. This is about because you like the work that Luciana is doing. And that speaks volumes.
Right. You get those DMs, you get those texts, you get those Facebook messages, whatever platform it might be. Those are different. Like, to your point, those are different when you get that from somebody you don't even know, or you barely know, and they're like, man, I love what you're doing. You know, keep doing what you're doing. You're really good at this, whatever it might be. That those, you're right. Those really put wind in your sails, more so than somebody that you know, because somebody that you know, they may just be being nice, you know?
Absolutely.
And when somebody you don't know out of nowhere, that's incredible. I'm so glad to speak to you today, because literally you're hitting me right at home right now. And I love, and the fact that you've turned this into something that will now double your income is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. In a pandemic.
Right. We haven't even gotten to full-fledged, let's open back up and let's just really fly. Yeah. We are really making waves during a time that is just not uncomfortable for our world. It's just not. And the happiness is that during this time, I think that a lot of us have had time to reflect, and we want better.
Yes.
And what I stand on is that my company is promising to help you be better.
Yes.
Whether it is a little brown boy, whether it is a little girl, whether it's a mother, whether it's an entrepreneur, whether it's an educator. My goal is to help you with everything that I have in me. I approach each contract, I approach each of my companies with the same effort and tenacity that I do every day. Nothing is given 50% because they belong to me. So it's a different type of effort that I'm able to put into it.
Yeah. And yet you own all the results too. So that's the beauty of it is you're going to get back because it's yours, and you're not under some other brand, whether it's a school or a major organization. You're not under their brand. It's yours. And it is personal. And we're also from Cleveland. So I was not born, but raised majority of my life in Cleveland. So I think there's a little fight in us that maybe some people may not understand, but my wife and I talk about this often. I think there's a little 216 in me that drives me to, and I don't know if that's true for you, but
it's so true.
It's different. It's different.
Yes.
And I think if you're from Cleveland, you understand that we know how to fight, and we know how to work real hard for what we achieve and what we don't. I
agree.
Well, all right. So you said there's three companies, and we talked about Brown Boys, which I love. That's the other thing I want to say really quick before we get to that. You don't only just have a successful, you didn't set up a mask and sanitizing business in the midst of a pandemic that's doing well. You're doing life-changing work in the midst of a pandemic. And I really want people to understand that this isn't just this isn't a, you know what I mean? There's a lot of companies and they're all doing great things, and that's all fine.
Absolutely.
But you're doing life-changing stuff, and that's different. And so we talked about one of the three legs of what you're doing, and that's Brown Boys. Let's talk about Gilmore Girls, because I really think was that the first one?
That was the first one, yes. Okay,
let's talk about that one. So that's where you really launched. Can we talk about that one, and what is Gilmore Girls? And it's not the TV show.
No, it's not. And Gilmore Girls is very personal to my heart.
Yes.
And I will share this with your audience. I wrote a book when I first left education, and it's called The Unconventional Leader. And I can remember Ms. Petranic sending me an email and saying, I just read your book, and now that I'm done crying, I am so proud of you.
Yeah.
And hold on, because I'm gonna cry. Hold on.
It's okay. We're unscripted. It's all good. Yeah.
Every time I talk about this, I get emotional. But the story really allowed me definition. And so what I can say about education, education has always been easy for me, whether I am the student or I was the person teaching or leading. I was identified as gifted in the third grade. And from that time, I have always, a lot of things just came very easy without much work. But leaving my position, because it did not come easy, I had to sit back and reflect on how I got to the place that I was in, my home office, computer on my desk, coffee in my mug, a blank sheet of paper in front of me, and I did not know what to do next. And it put me in this space like, you need to tell your story, and that's where you're going to find reflection.
Yeah.
And I shared my story from being a little kid and the trauma that I incurred and how I used my trauma to really lead. I talk about any leader. If you are going to lead in any entrepreneur, you are a leader. And if you're going to take on that role as a leader, then you really need to understand your why. Because when you are connected to the why, and I'm not talking about a surface why, like, I love kids or I love radio or not that type of surface why, like, why am I really doing this? What is this connected to that's pulling at my heart? When you can reach back and really get to what the why is, no person walking this earth can stop your movement. And so when I did that as a leader, and I didn't even know I was doing it as a leader, but when I wrote that book, I said, okay, I have to apply the same things that I did in school leadership to entrepreneur leadership. Yeah. What is my why? What do I want to do? How do I want to do it, and why? And I said, I want to help little girls who are broken like I was broken. Yeah. And I want to be sure that they understand that trauma builds strength. And that from trauma, you're going to have a story that you're going to be able to stand on as long as you don't let the trauma take you down. And that's what Gilmore Girls is about. I meet girls in middle school. I have wrote a curriculum. So like I said, Aaron, I didn't work for almost a year. I sat behind this desk, got up every morning and did nothing. I did something, but I didn't work out of the house.
Right.
But I wrote a social emotional curriculum where I really talk about things that people won't talk about with girls. What are you feeling? What's going on at home? What are you hiding? What are your secrets? How can I help you? What do you need to talk about? Let me give you some skills. I don't care if it came down to how you leave out the house every day is important. You need to make sure that you look good every single day because you don't know who you're going to meet on the way to where you're going. I teach them that in middle school because it's so important. That's another reason why I don't have my camera on, Aaron, because presentation is important to me.
I mean, Luciana, have you seen my kid? I mean, come on. No, but it's all good. I get it. No, I get it. I mean,
and it's not about even being pretty. It's about being put together. It's about taking pride in who you are and how you present yourself.
Right.
So I do that in middle school, and then the curriculum changes from middle school to high school, and then they go into leadership. And then I give them leadership skills. Not that everyone is going to be a leader, but I want to at least have those skills in you that if you ever have to rely on it. I don't care if you are the head cook at McDonald's. I want you to be able to lead it in a way that you make impact. Everything is about impacting. If you don't impact another individual while you walk on this earth, then you have wasted time on this earth. And I'm not just talking about your kids. I'm talking about people outside of the people that you love. If you can't have impact on those who are not tangible to you, then you wasted time here.
Right.
And that's what Gilmore Girls is about. I am about changing lives for girls who look like me, holding their hand, guiding them, and ensuring that they have everything that I have. I poured into them. I don't care if they need something. If it's a text in the middle of the night, they all have my personal number. Wow. They send me snapshots of their grades, and now it has extended outside of Cleveland. I mentor girls now in Baltimore, and so I mentor moms in Baltimore now. Like, this is beyond even what I imagined that it could be, but I know that it's needed. And so that's Gilmore Girls.
Wow. Whew. Preach. I just know how to say preach because, oh my gosh. I mean, I love, thank you to our friend for this introduction, because I can't wait for everybody to hear this. I'm going to get this up tonight and I'm going to promote it a lot, because it doesn't matter what industry you're in or what you're doing. And I mean, you, as far as somebody listening to this, I hope you're hearing this. The passion and the belief and the knowing your why is everything. As you said, it's everything. And once you figure that out, and sometimes honestly, you might just fall over it accidentally, but once you fall over it, don't let that go, and don't just ignore it. The world needs people like yourself that are on fire and just so excited about what they're doing and making. Again, I keep coming back to the same thing. You're not making widgets. You're making a difference.
Yes.
And that is even bigger. It's not about even money. It's about making a difference in people's lives, not just in Cleveland, but as you said, Baltimore. You are making lasting changes that will change the score for boys and girls that are connected. That's so much more important than t-shirts or hats or steel, or I'm just grabbing stuff out of the air right now, but not that there's anything, the world needs all those things, but what the world really needs is people that are on fire and that are built to understand who they are and have leadership skills, because those are the people that change the world. I'm sorry, I'm preaching now, but
no, you're
really
fine.
Excited.
It's all good, Aaron. You're talking all the right. Yes, that is exactly what it's about. And I will even share this with you guys. I think even when I was saying that, when you impact people that are not connected to you, like family members, even with the businesses that I do, especially with Brown Boy, it's really focused on brown boys, right? But yesterday, Aaron, I cried for at least 3 hours. I
Mm.
received over 5 emails from moms, Caucasian moms, who emailed Brown Boy Joy to say, I am so happy that you and your son is doing this.
Mm.
And that I hope, one of the emails had a picture of her son. And she said, I hope that my son looks up to your son one day, because
Wow.
I am raising him to love everybody and to know that equality and justice means something. That touched me so much yesterday, Aaron.
Yeah.
I was so taken back because it's bigger than me.
Yeah.
It's bigger than me. My voice is a small voice in the impact that I want it to have. It's those emails are the emails that drive me. It is what woke me up this morning at 5 o'clock. Like, okay, we got to get going. I got to make sure that this is reaching more. I got to get this video shared more. Yeah. Because I need people to understand that the world is bigger than our self-centeredness that's in our house.
Wow. Yeah. For sure. And you said it, you know, since you started this, you've never missed a house payment. You never missed a car payment. And I bet you don't get up first thing and look at your bank account.
I don't.
You look at the emails that you get and think, how can I continue that kind of influence? Because the bank account is going to take care of itself.
It's going to take care of itself. And let me share this with you and your audience. Mm-hmm. I've never had this much money in my bank account ever in my entire life.
And that's not bragging. That's saying, don't worry about your bank account. Don't worry about people. Yeah.
Right. It's not bragging. What I want to share is that if I do the work, the money is going to come.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I worry about the money, then I'm not sticking to what I'm doing it for.
Yeah.
Because then I'm chasing a dollar. I just want to chase the impact. I'm chasing the impact right now. I'm chasing the message. I'm chasing the next kid. That's what I'm doing. I'm not chasing a dollar. The dollars are there.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're going to, goodness. I have so many thoughts. All right. So, I love it all. This has been amazing for me. I don't know who's going to listen to this, but for me, before we even finish, thank you. Thank you. You have no idea how much this lands right now where I need it. And I think I'm not going to be the only person that hears this and says, I really needed to hear that right now.
Yes.
So thank you. Thank you so much for everything you've said so far.
You are very welcome.
Now the third leg. Sorry. Yes. The third.
No, it's fine.
Of the three. What's the third one?
So the third of the three is actually the parent company. And so the third of the three is actually the consultant firm.
Okay.
And we do consulting on small projects and we do consulting on large projects.
Okay.
At the core, we do not take projects that at some pool in the project does not have direct impact on children.
Wow.
And so whether I am offering a professional development to a group of teachers, I am still offering this PD from the lens on how do you help children. Yeah. We have been offered different things that do not that has an influence on children, but it's not direct. I want all of our impact to direct children.
Wow.
And that's our third leg.
Yeah, and that's what's at your core. Because of what you left, you didn't leave it. It was still a part of you. You're just taking it into another arena and many other arenas, it sounds like. So, gosh, this has been so good. What really, I mean, I genuinely mean that. I hope that comes through in my voice. I genuinely mean that. Thank you. What are the links? Because we've talked about a lot of things. I don't want anyone to miss anything we've talked about. Actually, before we get that, are you available for public speaking? What other, like, if someone hears this and says, I want her to come speak to my school or to my church group or to my whatever it might company, are you available for those things? And what would that look like?
We do. So I do a lot of public speaking. My schedule is kind of varied at this point, just because we are about 2.5 months booked out right now for engagement, just because we have some larger contracts on the table. But I am always open to public speaking. I'm always open to sharing my story. And when I say that everything has to have an impact for children, even if I am talking to a group of moms, that is directly impacting children. When I'm talking to a business and the business is, it still has to be connected with some type of work with children, just because I feel like that's where my greatest strength is at when I'm conveying messages.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm open, and I love speaking. It has become much more comfortable now that I've been on my own. Even as a principal standing before a staff of 115, I would still get nervous. Now I'm so connected to my why. I go in and I'm ready just to spit it out. I'm ready. Let's go. Yes.
Good. Well, I am so thankful for our time. I'm so thankful that our mutual friend put us in contact with one another. She was spot on. This has hit me personally tonight. And as we've had this conversation, I think it's going to affect a lot of other people as well. Now, to get to the links, and then I really want to circle back to say thank you. So yes. What are all the links? And I will have all those put together in the blog post. What are all the links and ways to reach out to you, contact you, find out more about Gilmore Girls, Brown Boy, everything you have going on? What's the best? What are all the links?
And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you just my email, because I think that's easier. And then I can direct them, because I don't want to get people boggled up with all the names and all that stuff. Yes. So my personal email is msaka4@me.com. That way I can have my assistant just direct wherever you need to go from that way. But all of our websites are up. My first website is www.Novaturient Industries. That's NOVATURIENT Industries with an S.com. Gilmore Girls is Gilmore Girls Foundation. No, that's not. It's two different ones. I'm sorry, Aaron. It's GilmoreGirlsGreetings.com.
Okay.
Yes, I apologize.
No.
And then Brown Boy Joy is www.ourbrownboyjoy.com.
Love it.
All those have personal emails on the pages as well. So if you don't get the MSAKA, it's fine. All those emails will get directed and filtered out. We answer emails within 24 hours, and so they'll get an immediate response. But I look forward to engaging with your audience. This has been awesome for me. Just being able to share my story in this platform. I do hope that your audience heard something. If it was just some encouragement to know that if you are thinking about entrepreneurship, or if you are thinking about following your dreams, the only dream that does not come to life is a dream that was never chased.
Oh, goodness. You just come in and is that a mic? I think I heard a mic drop.
I just dropped the mic. Just dropped the mic. Yes.
I got to rewind that. I'm pretty sure I heard a mic drop right after. It's so good.
That's it. That's it. Everything is within your reach. If you believe it first, then you can sell everybody else on it. But you got to believe in it. So if it's not deep down in your why connected to you, it'll be out of touch. You believe it, chase it, it's gonna happen. I am living proof. I promise you, this was not scripted. This is unscripted for real, Aaron. This was unscripted
life.
Yes, this was real life. But it is life so well deserved, and life so it's so rich for me now. And it's rich because of the smiles. It's rich because of how I get to see people's reaction to the work. It's rich because now I get to live through people. I get to change lives and ultimately help people from a very young age. When I see a broken Luciana and I'm able to see her kind of go through the steps, I'm like, wow, she's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
This girl is going to be amazing. And that fuels me. It fuels me.
And here's the thing. I don't know where your bank account's going to be year over year. And we've already covered this. Who cares?
Yes.
Right? Yes. As long as you can make your payments. And I don't mean that. And I wish you millions of dollars, but I know you don't care about that. What you do care about, I think and I hate to use a business term, but the return on investment for you.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about dollars and cents in bank accounts. Absolutely what I'm talking about is 10 years from now, when your son runs into someone like the mom that emailed you,
Yes.
That is the return on investment.
That
Or
is the return.
one of those children that you spoke to, or that is the return on investment. And I hope people hear the passion that you have, and because I'm getting passionate now too about it. That's the return. It's not about the dollars and cents. It's about changing lives and really changing the score.
Yes.
Man, gosh, I'm so fired up right now. I want to go take a hill.
Yes. So. Yes. Aaron.
Thank you.
I am predicting greatness for Unscripted too.
Thank you.
I am going to speak it into existence that Unscripted becomes number one on whatever platform you choose to go forward. It is going to rank high. I will say this tidbit: you absolutely have a podcast voice. So if you haven't heard that, I will tell you, you absolutely have it. And I'm saying podcast, like, radio voice with podcast, like you have that voice that translates your feelings when you speak. I could feel it. And so if I can feel it, and it's no screen and all of those things, I think that is something that you have to really hold close to you and know that you have it. Some people just had that You got it, Aaron.
That means a lot. I've always been told I have a face for radio, but I don't think that was a compliment. But thank you.
Your so voice, much. Though, it's very strong. It's very clear. It's very matter of fact, and I think that people who listen as opposed to see visually needs to hear matter of fact through the ear. Yeah. And I think that you convey that very well. So I am wishing you much success as you climb this ladder. I'm going to be rooting for you. Yeah. And I know you're going to do the same for us. So we appreciate you. Thank you for the invite. Yes. And please have us back on. We would love to share again.
You have an open invite whenever, for whatever. And I say that to a lot of my guests because a lot of my guests they're just great, and I love what they're doing. So you have an open invite. You already have the calendar link. You click on, you pick your time and date. You're welcome to come on anytime. And I want to finish with this because you said it, and then you just said the word ladder. I had a friend on from North Carolina that told a really incredible. He just used a quote. And he talked about how people keep climbing the ladder, and he said maybe your ladder's against the wrong wall.
Absolutely.
When he said that, I don't know if a lot of people heard that episode, but I want to say it again because it has been so powerful for me. And I think that was true for you. You were climbing the ladder. Nothing wrong with that. It was on the wrong wall. And you have moved your ladder to the right wall now, and it changes things. And I'm so thankful that you have found the right wall. Not that the other wall was bad. It was just you found the right wall. Your ladder's against the right wall. You are changing lives. And I am better today for having this conversation with you. And I hope I run into you someday because I'd love to give you a big old hug and just tell you thank you. But if not, know that you have a fan in Columbus and everything you're doing, and an open invitation to come on anytime you want.
Now, see, I'm saying that those are those feelings. So I'm a crybaby, Aaron. You're going to make me cry over the radio. You can't do that.
I'm not on radio yet, but it's all good.
You will. Look, see, I'm speaking into existence. Look, see, you're going to make me cry over your podcast. I don't want to cry, but I do receive that. And thank you so much. I'm sure we'll be back on. Yes. And I'm in Columbus a lot. I'm hoping to get a couple things going down there for girls. And so I will make sure that I reach out to you when I'm in your city.
You better, because I want to give you a big old hug, and I want to thank you for everything and coming on. And I got a t-shirt for you too. So
thank you. And if you ever need my support offline, Aaron, or on any type of just, back information, transitioning, please reach out to me. I am here and will support you in any way that I can.
Thank you so much. God bless everything you're doing. And you better come on again soon.
I'm coming. Have a good weekend, Aaron.
You too. Thank you so much. God bless.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.